Hello, everybody. Okay, so it's actually not 3 a.m. today. It is 9:53 a.m., January 10th. Let's get into it. Okay, so a lot of people had like opinions to say about my use lying to manifest video, and I kind of just realized that I think you guys didn't really understand the point of what I was saying. So I'm gonna explain that really quick, and then I'm gonna move on to the topic of this video, which is more manifestation and laws of the universe and whatever. I actually don't know what this video is gonna be about. I'm kind of just gonna talk and see where it goes, but we'll see. After I made my use lying to manifest video, I had a lot of people talking about morals and how you're supposed to trust people, and I had a lot of people being like, oh, this is delusion, this is whatever. First of all, using lying to manifest is quite literally just the law of assumption. It's assuming a reality before it happens. And in my universe, in my world, this is not delusion, this works. You can't look at these things from like a logical, moral, whatever worldview. If you are trying to get into spiritual things, you kind of have to break away from all the things that have been taught to you. So from a manifestation worldview, reality is not what currently exists, it is what is being selected, okay? And I can select my own reality because I am a god. Now let me explain this. I am a goddess, yes, and you are a god or a goddess as well. And when I say that I am a god, I do not mean that I can flame from my fucking hands. I don't have like magical powers. I do not mean that I'm like, if someone shot me in the head, I wouldn't die. I do not mean that I can end the universe or I created life or whatever the fuck. That's not what I'm talking about. That's not the god I'm talking about. That in it of its sense is a deity, okay? Like Allah, Jesus, whatever the fuck, they're deities, right? That is not what the fuck I am talking about. When I say that I am a god and a goddess, I mean that I understand my power as the author of my own life. I can shift my own reality, so I have power. I am a god. And I'm gonna get into that later. But when I say that I am a goddess, I do not mean that I am better than anyone. It is not out of a way of conceit, because every single person is a god, every single person is a goddess. It's a difference in the way you see things. You call yourself a human, I call myself a literal fucking goddess, because reality comes to me at my fingertips. I have all 4 dimensions on my fucking fingertips. First, second, third, fourth, fifth dimensions I can manifest with, and I can create whatever reality I want to bring to this world. That is why I say I'm a goddess, because I am an alchemist. I make magic out of literally nothing. I can get whatever the fuck I want from this life, because this life comes from me. I am living through me. I am connected to the source. I don't know what the source is. I don't know who created all this, who the actual god is. I don't know. I don't have that knowledge, but all I know is that I'm connected to whatever it is. And I know my power. Okay? So, let me get into it. When you speak something that hasn't happened yet, when you are lying, you aren't lying. You are speaking something into existence that hasn't happened yet, and you are not creating a falsehood, okay? You are naming a timeline. When I say, oh, call your friend and say this opportunity happened, lie to manifest, I'm using the word lying because some people don't have the vocabulary to understand what I'm actually saying. Assuming a reality, that's what it is. And it is speaking in future tense, okay? Not past tense, not present tense, future tense. It is literally predicting something before it even happens. Okay? And if you are watching this and you're like, oh, that's delusion, that's still lying, it's because you just don't get it. You just don't get it, and it's gonna fly over your head, and that's okay. For those of us who do get it and do wanna manifest faster and do wanna use these things, take what you will. Traditionally, what is what I'm talking about usually called? It's usually called speaking into being, word as creation, logos, spell casting, prophecy, whatever the fuck you wanna call it. But it's all the same shit. It is all this spiritual belief that this opportunity exists for me and I'm speaking it into an existence. It is not a lie, it is a claim of authorship. You are the author of your own life. You are writing that book as you go, and you need to understand that you have this power. And you are literally declaring, this is the direction that I am choosing, okay? So people who interpret this as lies, deceit, delusion, whatever the fuck, you guys are looking at this through a materialist lens where only what already happened counts as real. But in my reality, in spirituality, it literally says that the future is very much just as real as the present. And it's just not visible yet. We can see the present. I can feel the present. I can feel this remote. If you know, you know. But you can't feel the future, but you can see it and you can predict it and you can create it. I'm not misrepresenting the truth when I decide to call my friend and speak something into existence before it happens, I am anchoring a truth that is still forming, because this shit is happening. And you aren't going to be able to do this if you just think that you're lying, because you have to change the vocabulary. You are not lying. You are writing your story. You are putting something into existence before it exists. You are speaking in future tense. When I say it is not lying because it comes true, I am saying this because the truth is not static. It is becoming. The truth is something that is always becoming. And some people are going to react very strongly to this. People who are in survival mode believe that reality happens to them, but I don't believe reality happens to me. I believe reality comes from me. I create that shit. So people who believe reality happens to them and they don't know their power and they do not genuinely believe that they are some form of a goddess, this type of mindset is going to feel threatening to anyone who depends on limitation, certainty, hierarchy, external authority, external validation, whatever, okay? So you guys are gonna call it lying because that's the only lens you're gonna see it from. That's the only way you guys know how to interpret future tense speech. And that's okay. Some people are just not gonna get it, but I get it and I'm sharing it. I speak from the timeline I am choosing not to deceive, but to align. If someone chooses not to participate in that reality, that's their right. I'm not here to control people. I'm here to author myself. Okay. What is the multiverse? The multiverse is when different universes can all coexist within the same time. There's also something called a multi-reality. There's not one reality that everybody believes. For a fucking Jewish person, their God is one reality. For a Muslim person, their reality, Allah is God, right? You can basically choose what to believe. You are creating your own reality. You can choose to be a really negative or a really positive person. That's why some people have a different life than others. We all have a different reality, so there's something called a multi-reality. The same way that the multiverse has different universes and different dimensions coexisting at the same time, it's literally the exact same thing as a multi-reality. In my reality, this is what I believe and this is how it works. If it doesn't have to work for you, that's okay. When you call it a lie, you assume that the present is only the truth. And I know that in the video, like the title, I said use lying to manifest and I used the word lying, but like those who kind of understood what I was saying understood that I was no longer speaking upon lying. I was speaking upon assuming a reality into existence before it existed. And so calling it a lie assumes that the present is the only truth. And I believe that the future is very much real too. I just speak it early. I just be predicting shit. I'm not saying that everything I say is true. I'm saying that I speak from who I am becoming. I speak from the past, future, and present all at the same time. Now that I just explained all of that, we are going to talk about, First of all, manifestation has been around for thousands and thousands and thousands of years. It has existed before things like prayer came to be, okay? And in my first video, I went on to the topic of what manifestation is and what prayer is, but I don't think I really explained it that well. And so I'm gonna try to explain it better this time. Every single spiritual system has a form of manifestation. They just call it different things. Religion and spirituality are like very much connected because everything that has been learned in the religious text existed before. You can learn that through history. Literally all over the Bible, there's religious things. For example, when Jesus says he's gonna turn water into wine, that's alchemy. That's literally alchemy. That's using one thing and creating another thing. When the Bible says, ask and you shall receive, these stories in the Bible, these stories in the Quran, whatever, these stories were always symbolic of the same thing. Consciousness creates a reality, okay? And so back to explaining prayer versus manifestation. Prayer and manifestation are not opposites. It's not like one thing is the other, but they kind of like work differently. What is praying? At least if you pray as a Muslim, right, you get your prayer mat, you bow down to God. Most people are actually, this is something people need to work on more, but most people only pray when they need something and they don't really pray for gratitude or to be grateful anymore. People are only praying when they need something. So they pray in times of desperation. When you are praying in times of desperation, you are basically bowing down and vowing yourself to a higher power and putting all your energy into that higher power and begging for them to give you something. And then it's like a maybe this will happen, maybe it won't. And this doesn't make prayer wrong. This means that it's never going to occur, but it does mean you are placing the power to create your reality outside of yourself. You are placing all the pressure for this problem to be fixed or this thing to come into your hands on a god, right? Now, manifestation is different because manifestation is not giving all your power to the source. It is being one with the source and exuding everything that you want. When you manifest, you're not begging the universe for something. You're becoming the frequency of what you want and you're calling it in. So you get things much faster. I would say you understand your power much more, and that's why it works. When I say we are in gods and goddesses, I mean that we are all creative beings with the power to create our own reality. What does this mean? It means our thoughts shape our actions. Our actions shape our patterns shape our lives. Okay? That is creation. That is what being divine actually means. When you are really young, what traits do children have? Children have, one of the big traits that children have is detachment. What does that mean? A child can build something, create something, and then break it 5 seconds later and move on to the next. Children are always cycling. They are unattached to everything around them. They are constantly cycling and looping from one thing to another, right? Children are extremely creative beings. They speak what's on their mind. They have a lot of love, right? These are all symbols of God, the character traits of children. But as you grow up, fear is instilled into you because fear is not a symbol of God. Fear is usually not, you are not born with fear. It is taught to you. You are trained to have it. And so when people start to have fear and their subconscious mind is worked on, they stop believing in their power and they kind of lose mind of it. So then that's why you start calling people who have this mindset delusional or schizophrenic or conceited or whatever the fuck. And society benefits from this. What do you think would happen to the world if every single person just realized they could manifest whatever reality they wanted and they didn't have to be miserable, and that with self-love they could achieve endless things? Like the sky is the limit. What do you think people would start? Society would not benefit from that, because society benefits from you believing that you are small so that they could keep you oppressed, that they could keep you controlled. Because someone who knows their worth doesn't accept crumbs, is not going to accept shitty fucking treatment. So that's why manifestation, witchcraft, spiritual power, whatever, they're all labeled as dark and evil because they make people hard to control. And manifesting, you kind of have to be careful in the ways that you speak things into existence and the ways that you speak in future tense. So, for example, if you want to manifest wealth and money, don't say, I have money. I have da-da-da in your manifestation journal. I'm so grateful for this money, because you may receive it, but the more specific you are, the better it is. So instead, say, I am extremely financially stable. I am extremely da-da-da, because money is not permanent. Money in nature is meant to flow. Money is meant to cycle. It's meant to be in your hand, then used up. That's why people who save up a bunch of money are left stuck. Money is not meant to be stagnant. It's meant to be constantly circling and looping. So you can't, if you manifest money, like that's just gonna go away. So you need to be more specific. So instead of saying that you want to manifest money, manifest its source. Or for example, if you want to manifest happiness, if you write in your journal, I want happiness, I am extremely happy, da-da-da, instead of manifesting the things that make you happy, these things are not going to be permanent. Happiness is not ever permanent. Money is not permanent. Instead of manifesting happiness, manifest its source, because these things come and go. If you are manifesting and your manifestation doesn't work or it doesn't come true, you also need to be aware of the things that you are manifesting and if they are on a way higher vibration than you are. If you are just a regular Joe and all of a sudden you're like, yeah, the fuck, I'm a fucking god, I'm a fucking goddess, I manifest a fucking Bentley, you're probably not going to receive that manifestation for another 5 to 10 years if you are like broke as shit and you are nowhere near even on the same vibration as something with that much like status and power. You know why? Because when you manifest things, right, if you don't immediately get them, it means that you are being redirected by yourself, by the universe, so that you can be taught lessons, so you can obtain the tools, get your vibration higher so that you can achieve what you want. Okay? So if something you manifest doesn't come true, that doesn't mean you failed. It just means that you're being redirected, because the thing that you want isn't aligned with who you are becoming. And growth is always going to come with loss. If you manifest abundance, anything that blocks abundance is going to leave. If you are manifesting something and then you are basically giving the universe the opposite energy of what you're manifesting, for example, if you are manifesting peace, all the things that are intruding your peace are going to go away. You might lose your job. You might get fired. A friend might fall out with you. Somebody might randomly block you. These things are going to happen, and you need to alchemize it instead of viewing it as a negative light. Be like, oh no, these things are happening to benefit me. Every loss is just redirection. If you're manifesting abundance, anything that retracts that is going to leave. That might be a relationship, that might be a habit, that might be a past version of you. And clinging to what hurts you is you telling the universe that you don't believe you deserve better. For example, even if you are manifesting money and you start seeing pennies and quarters on the ground, if you just step on them, you are basically telling the world that you are ungrateful, because even if you are grateful for the shittiest thing that they give you, you're just a breeding ground to get more because of that gratitude. And something, okay, so my mother, right? I'm just gonna explain my mother's life a little bit because she's like an amazing, wonderful fucking woman. She immigrated here from Iran. She was a single mother. She did like cosmetology school. She was like broke, whatever. I mean, she wasn't a single mother. She was with my dad, but then they got divorced and she went to cosmetology school. And then all of a sudden she was like, no, I'm going to be a doctor. Didn't know English that well, read all her textbooks from scratch, put herself through med school. I think she started doing nursing at like 30 something and now she's 45 and she's a doctor. And her whole entire reality has changed. Like my mom's life right now versus 4 years ago, it's like an incomparable difference. You'd be like, how the fuck did this woman get here? And it is because my mother, okay, growing up, this is something my mother would always do. We were in a shitty ass 2004 beater car and she would sit in it every single day. She'd be like, thank you God for this car. She'd always be grateful for everything. Even if it was the shittiest thing ever, she was grateful for it. She made me feel like I was in a Bentley when she was inside of that shitty ass car. And now she's actually driving a Bentley. Like dead ass. And my mother gave me this advice. She was like, if you want something from the world, you need to be grateful for what is already given to you, because you are just going to you're just going to be a fucking magnet to all the things that you want because you're giving out this positive energy of like gratitude. So when I manifest things, I don't give the credit for my manifestations coming true to God or the God that is taught to everybody. I give the credit to myself. And I'm not denying that a God exists. I definitely do believe that there's a higher power. But when I ask to receive something and then I get it, I'm the one who created that reality for myself. I'm grateful to myself and I give myself all the power. This is another difference between manifestation and praying. When you pray, you are in an extremely vulnerable place because you are kind of just putting your future, your reality into the hands of faith, right? But when you manifest, it is much more disciplined and much more goal-oriented than that. You are basically creating the reality for yourself. I just want everybody to know that they are the architect of their own life. When you realize who you are and that you are life in and of itself, you realize that you are not just man or woman, you are God and goddess. When you realize that it's not so simple as they make it out to be, that's not going to make you crazy or conceited. That's going to make you uncontrolled. That's going to make you powerful. Okay, and once again, we are all the same. I love Ariana Grande so much. I love her music. I think that she is like literally such an amazing woman, right? But I do not think that Ariana Grande is better than me. And this is like the same shit that I was explaining with the Elon Musk or whatever the fuck, right? What I mean when I say that these people aren't better than you, it's because we all have power. We are all gods and goddesses. It's just what it takes to realize your power, right? If I wanted to, right now, if I wanted to be a famous singer, I could go into singing lessons. I could work my fucking ass off every day, get an amazing voice. I could learn how to produce. I could do whatever. And I could become the same or better than Ariana Grande and I could win a Grammy, right? Could I not? Could I not? These things are very much real and very much possible, and I especially could because I create my own fucking reality. So whatever the fuck I want to come true, I can formulate it to come true if I'm like aligning myself with that, right? So you can do the same thing too. I wish everybody in the world knew their power because the world would be way different, but they don't. So some people are going to understand this and some people are going to be way too brainwashed, and that's okay. You know what? Actually, while I'm making this video, I'm just going to talk about some mindsets that I live by. I'm very, very much humble, right? I do not think that I am better than anyone because everybody has the potential to be me. And I have the potential to be anybody who I may think is better than me. But when you realize that we are all equal and these celebrities, the modern gods, right? Okay. When I say modern god, what I mean is, what would you consider a god? Okay. When I think of God, I think of someone who is extremely influential, someone who people follow, someone who has a lot of power, okay? Celebrities can be considered the modern gods because of their power of influence, right? How much power they have with influence. And this is not accidental. There are reasons that Nicki Minaj and Megan Thee Stallion and Cardi B and whoever the fuck are all of a sudden being used by politicians for their campaigns and stuff like that. Like, open up your eyes, guys. It's really, really good to live this way within my reality, where I genuinely do not think that anybody is better than me. I take every single thing as inspiration, because when you don't like yourself, right? I used to not like myself at all. I used to be extremely insecure. I used to not be confident at all. When I experienced those times of not liking myself, I was physically incapable of being happy for anybody. Anybody who I thought had a better life than me, or who I thought was prettier than me, or who I thought whatever, that immediately caused me to feel a sense of loss and a sense of like hatred and a sense of like just like the gross feeling of jealousy. And so if you've ever find yourself in a position where you feel extremely jealous, what you need to do is, once again, very much work on your self-love, but try to transmute it. If you catch yourself in instances of jealousy where you are just hating on people for no fucking reason, stop for a second and don't start shaming yourself because you feel jealous and be like, what's wrong with me? Why can't I be da-da-da? No, stop for a second, look at yourself and think, wait, what's the difference between me and her? Okay, that's the difference. She has this and I don't have this. How did she get that? Okay, she got that. Make the people you are jealous of your inspiration. Make them your teachers, make them your role models, make them your leaders, right? The same way that you do with celebrities. The reason you aren't jealous of celebrities, or maybe you are, but the same reason that you aren't like, the way that you would be jealous of like a really pretty girl you see walking down the street versus a celebrity is because you think a celebrity is like all the way up here. And you're like, your brain can comprehend why that celebrity is so much better than you. But like a regular person walking down the street, if they're like extremely gorgeous or extremely confident or whatever, you're like, what? It doesn't like make sense in your head. Understand that those celebrities are just regular people and you can take inspiration from normal people the same way that you do with celebrities. One huge mantra that I live by is I'd rather be free than lovable. What does that mean? I'd rather be free than lovable, because to be loved by everyone is to sacrifice your boundaries. To be loved by everybody is to sacrifice yourself. To be loved by everybody, what does that mean? It means you have to make yourself in a way that everybody deems you likable. What is that? That's people pleasing. That's bending your back over for the validation of others. You're going to be miserable that way because you can never make everybody happy, ever. There's always going to be someone hating. There's always going to be someone whatever. So if you just tell yourself, does this make me feel free? Does this not make me feel like I am trapped, bowing and performing for others? Does this make me feel free versus does this make me liked? Another mantra that I live by is I am not attached to identity. I have my internal worth and my love is God and I can create through it. That's like a big ass fucking mantra. So let me just break that down. You are not attached to identity. I am not attached to identity. Repeat. I know my internal worth. What are you internally? You are love. Your heart is the vessel. It's not none of this. Your heart is the vessel for your soul. So you are love and love is God. So create through it. Create through your inner God. Create through your heart. Other mantras that I go by is what I focus on finds me. I walk towards what is already mine. The version of me who has this already exists. The timeline opens to me. Even uncertainty moves me forward. Say this. Even uncertainty moves you forward. Nothing is wasted. Everything is folding onto the path. Loss makes room. The door is already unlocked. The current knows where it's going. This is aligning. These are all mantras that I have created over the years and I'm kind of just spitballing them. They're all in my notes app and I just repeat them. This is something I really recommend you do. Create mantras for yourself, right? And the mantras are within you. These can all come within you. Create mantras for yourself and start writing them down into your notes app and give them a number. And then every single morning, go on a random number generator, and I'm not even kidding, this is what I do most mornings to tune in with myself. Before I meditate, And literally, I go in a random number generator and I go, let's say the number is 3, I go to the number 3 mantra and I'm like, wow, I'm going to repeat that mantra to me every single day. So whenever I have every single, like today, a lot of times. So in order to be mindful, I will stop for a second. Like if I notice myself like being out of it and like being really stuck in the thing of life and being dissociated and like being da-da-da, I'll stop for a second. I'll be like, wait, I'll remember the mantra. I'll say it to myself and I'll take a deep breath. It keeps me mindful and it keeps me centered, right? And so, yeah, guys, I hope this was helpful. Bye-bye. I love Ariana Grande. Waves carry what I call.